Now, switching gears, because as you know, those who watch this program know that we try to end the show on a bit of a lighter note, or we try and find something to laugh about on this show. Well, there's a Toronto Star op-ed written by Michael Corrin, who's a former Toronto, what was it, Sun News Network, the failed Sun News television network. He used to work there. The guy used to be a conservative, but he's totally switched his position, and he's now bashing conservatives as much as he can in the media. Well, Michael Corrin wrote an article in the Toronto Star, and the headline is Canadian Christian nationalism not Christian. It's not Canadian or patriotic either. So you read that headline, you probably think, probably not a ton of support for Christian nationalism in this country. But then how did I know, Rupa, that in this article somewhere they were going to tie Pierre Poilievre into Canadian Christian nationalism? Sure enough, 3 paragraphs in, there he is. It seems to be the playbook for the legacy media.
Oh my goodness, yes, it read like a screed, a rant, and it had all the elements of verbal diarrhea from the left. You have Trump. You have all of the keywords, key buzzwords, right? You have Trump, you have the far right, you have nationalism, you have Pierre Poilievre, you have the Freedom Convoy, of course. We can't forget those people. So it just read like this guy clearly. It read like he had a lot of issues, and he was just kind of going into this rant to get this off his chest. But I actually had to read this nonsense, and I blame you for this, Harrison. But,
sorry.
The things I have to do, for True North. But anyway, so he's making he has a very specific interpretation of Christianity. He doesn't like Calvinism. That's pretty obvious. And he has this very, he's this elite disdain, he says these people at the protests, they had misspelled quotes from the Bible or even misquoted from the Bible. So my question to him is, does that mean that their faith is not genuine? They're not Christians if they can't spell right? It all sounded very, very elitist. And more to the point about his criticism of Christian nationalism. See, you can be a Christian, and you can be a nationalist. So you can be a Christian nationalist. You can be a Christian, and you can be a socialist. As a matter of fact, the foundation of the British Labour Party is Christian socialism, and the foundation of many political parties in Europe. So if you can be a Christian and a socialist, why can't you be a Christian and a nationalist? So basically this guy, in this, long rant, it comes across as though, and it's unfortunate that this is coming from an Anglican priest, it doesn't matter that he's Anglican, but the fact that this is,
well, from a priest in general, I think. Yeah.
He just seems angry. I thought priests were supposed to be kind and compassionate and understanding of the other, but it was quite the opposite. He just sounded very hateful in his op-ed. And to my mind, it sounded like he wanted a situation where basically a small power elite decides what level of religiosity we should have in society. What brand of Christianity we should have, maybe even what brand of culture. It just for me, it was just, just plain nonsense.
Yeah. Well, there's the way that the legacy media do this, they find the scariest words and put them together to try and gin up a lot of readership, because as we know, these guys are struggling to get viewers on their websites anyway. So the more that they can use this sort of language and ride the American wave. If you're plugged into American news, you'll know, for example, that a lot of people on the American right were having a total laugh at The Atlantic this week when The Atlantic tried to say that rosaries are now becoming a hate symbol, an extreme hate symbol. So of course, and there's also been some talk about Christian nationalism. There's a congresswoman who proclaimed that she was a proud Christian nationalist. And of course, that just got the left up in arms. So, but there's this very strange phenomenon happening where legacy media journalists are so focused on trying to tie the frontrunner in the conservative leadership race to the very worst elements of politics in our culture, and you don't see that from the independent media on the other side. So you won't see that, but it's a very bizarre thing where they're trying to make Pierre Poilievre out to be this extremely dangerous, very fringe politician. And it's bizarre to me because they almost treat Pierre Poilievre worse than they do Maxime Bernier. And anyone who knows the inside of conservative politics knows that Pierre Poilievre is not a nationalist. He definitely doesn't appeal to the Christian nationalist or far-right voting bloc. And his campaign is staffed with insider establishment conservatives. So it's like this, they're trying to kind of bend reality. And I think this is all desperation and panic, really. To me, it really reeks of panic from them.
Absolutely. It's not at all bizarre. I mean, that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
It's actually all quite predictable, actually. Pierre Poilievre would be very much a centrist in American politics, and that's the irony of this whole thing. They're panicking, and because you have these polls coming out that show that younger people are turning conservative, and possibly turning to Pierre. So I think this is the kind of thing that really upsets them. This is the kind of thing that could upset existing narratives, that they've tried so hard to have in place over the last few years. And it's just the elites, it's just elite opinion facing a direct challenge right now, and they're trying to counter it by trying to smear the conservative leadership race, and particularly Pierre Poilievre. Whether you like him or not, that's a different issue. But I think to tie him in with everything, including Christian nationalism, it's just really, really bizarre. It just is a sign of desperation, as you say.